Welcome everyone to more live Linux development here on our channel with our T2 Simply Working Linux distribution and channel. As a hopefully really last thing, I wanted to make T2 installation, especially full disk encrypted with swap and stuff, even easier. I run this, of course, where do we even are here? Of course, I run this for quite a while on my portable Roadwarrior SSD. So we have also other stuff to come. And of course, so full disk encryption and LVM2 are of course long, amazingly supported. Maybe even as one of the few Linux distributions to even support this on with caching, because I had to patch GRUB. Often things as not yet as known as T2 is, stuff otherwise often works quite well, because sometimes I have to patch stuff to even work, and so I'm not sure how well some other stuff works in other Linux distributions. So maybe it doesn't. Excuse me. It's this time of the year. So what I mean with this, other distributions might give you long storage. I can't read all the installation stuff of all the other 1969 Linux distributions. But yeah, usually the stuff is like, yeah, this is the how-to, right? It's like, yeah, this is, yeah. Obviously nobody, even I, wouldn't want to follow this. And even I only Google that because I wanted to see what other Linux distributions do. And we, of course, made this already. Where did I? Maybe here. And so I tested this already. I made this already more amazing, so that our installer has all the options to install this. And I made a questionnaire. So the problem is there's many variants of how to install this. Like plain partitions, and like T2 supports many of those, or yeah, I wouldn't say all. Yeah, let's click this. So this is what other people voted. Hey, 105 votes in the meantime. So classic partitions. I mean, yeah, it's of course the simplest thing. So T2 supports, I think, so looks encrypted. So yeah, classic partitions looks encrypted. LVM, of course, as well. And again, one of the few distributions who supports device mapper caching, because if you have device map per cached LVM volumes, then GRUB2 arrows out and doesn't show any of those. So I'm not sure if any other Linux distribution supports this. We use this in production at Exacode, obviously, right? This stream brought to you by my company, Rick and Theme. So we use this in production for, of course, SSD isolated optical spinning media. And what I wanted to improve further is, and what probably does it also works. So the problem is also, so you see there are quite some combinations and even others comments below. And there's even one more thing which I personally would want to use, which is having loops partitions. So basically having your LVM2 physical volume loops encrypted, and maybe they speak about it here somewhere. And for example, again, I don't read all the other 1900 something. But a lot of the stuff is like you YOLO them manually, right? So the thing is, I want that even I want my stuff to just work, and welcome everyone. And as usual, if you have comments and if you have like other distributions have this amazing, leave in the comments below. So all of these combinations that are quoted here kind of just work, and I will make this even more amazing, because one combination currently doesn't boot because the GRUB configuration is like so. So not only does, speaking of all these combinations, your installer would need to support creating this, and the minimal T2 installer even does. Then your init.rg stuff need to be as full featured to be able to set up most of this, and I will need to patch that as well. Maybe not live, it probably takes too much time. And because for my new case of having a physical volume encrypted. So the benefit of that is that if you want a encrypted swap, root and swap and home and stuff, you would need to type the passphrase or pre-share your key. And they also talk about this here, having auto-mounting additional encrypted file systems. And so they have this here with additional key files, which I find super annoying, right? Of course, there are always benefits. There's always pros and cons. The benefit of having 3 separately encrypted things, sure, you can either pre-share your key file, which I also don't find ideal. I mean, there's actually, if you say it's more encrypted, then you can't pre-share your key file, right? So what I would want to do, especially for supporting Resume, which also last month actually went the extra mile and supported Resume from suspend to disk, from hibernation, on an LVM2 swap partition that works, at least in QEmuno. I would need to do some real-world test if it really works on real hardware, but at least in QEmuno it works. You never know what's going on with hardware. But so the other real benefit is if I wanted encrypted swap for Resume from suspend to disk from my portable Road Warrior SSDs, then this comes handy because you create one physical volume and like one encrypted physical volume and have LVM2 have multiple partitions or logical volumes on there. But for that, we need to tweak the init ID. And there are the complications because I tested this actually already yesterday. So man, if you recover a cold, it's really not ideal for YouTube live streaming, I can tell you. So this is last night installation. So currently this does not boot. And so what you see here is you don't see LVM volumes, right? So what we need I need to modify, and this is all the complexities of supporting all of this, right? You need some auto magic detection kind of setup code to care for all those things, right? So I had here, also we can L as L, so here you see the stuff, so that is somewhere HD0, actually that is interesting, it says no known file system detected, but actually why does it not mark this as encrypted? But anyway, crypt mount HD0 GPT. So, and obviously I don't want to do that manual. This is just test for the sake of this presentation. And so for this, I need to rewrite or further improve our GRUB code because obviously I don't want personally or especially users to go through that. So for that, we need to modify the installer, the installer a bit, the GRUB2 interface a bit. So the tricks I will do is, so currently, if we have LVM2, currently we use the name, and I will change that to use the UUID. Actually, and that is the thing, right? Often it is, even if it's more readable, sometimes this cryptic UUID kind of stuff can simplify the stuff. The benefit of that is that it doesn't matter on which LVM, logical volume, whatever stuff it is, and using one wrapper trampoline step, because it simplifies the setup for classic direct partitions. You crypt set up that and then mount by UUID and GRUB. And for the LVM2 also, you still use a UUID, which then ends up to be on an LVM2 volume. And additionally, use the same crypt setup trampoline pre-mount step of opening that crypt setup slot there. So then with that opened, I tested this already last night, so this works. So because I pre-tested this, you see, we have LVM VG0 dash root and VG0 swap. And then if we fix that, we can, we can continue to boot. However, this will probably still currently not yet work. So that would be LVM. And so the problem is previously, and that is also complexity, right? Because GRUB2 has other naming conventions. So currently our code translates LVM stuff to GRUB's LVM / naming scheme here, which is a little bit annoying to be honest, because it's just another naming scheme and doesn't match anything else. And then you need to special case hardcode that boot grub config. So this will still not work because this will say, so that is the next thing, right? This just want to outline how many complex stacks, also, I mean, how complex modern, like if you want to support all the options, this is how it ends up, right? Having at each place grub, init-id and so on have to support this. And here's the next complication. So currently, so this will not work because we don't have code, and that is where you can share, like, and subscribe and comment below. How would you want to tackle that, right? Because the problem is the kernel doesn't know. So we have the root file system on VG LVM2 VG0-root, and the kernel doesn't know that for that it needs physical encrypted looks, encrypted physical volumes, right? So there are multiple things we could. We could auto-magic that, meaning if the device does not exist and they are like, we could check for Luke's IDs and try all of them, which is obviously a little bit error prone. Like if you have only one, then it would work. I would probably not go that route because all this, like, let's try random stuff and hope that it works is not really my thing. And it also, like, if we would specify the, like, either UUID, like UUID or whatever, this would also not work because that would end up as a physical volume, right? If you do UUID equals whatever 123 dash, you get the idea. So that would be the example encrypted physical looks encrypted physical volume, but that would just make all the others available, right? Unless we hard code then the either to use the first or to use something with the roots, that would all be hard-coded magic stuff that may or may not work. So I'm thinking to make this work. I'm considering to support, again, I didn't check all the other Linux distributions, so if there are other amazing stuff, leave them in the comments below. And sure, there are theoretically some Linux distributions, they have like, so this crypt tab, but like if we rely on a crypt tab, there are two things. So first of all, this crypt tab is mostly not supported. I checked here previously, I grabbed util-linux and so on. It's not even much code for that crypt tab in meaning another like etcfs tab, but for etc just crypted file systems. The other thing is we would need to rebuild the init-id, and this is also, in my opinion, always a little bit annoying that you install something and your init-id is specially crafted to only work with that system. That is always a little bit annoying, in my opinion. And so what I'm considering is it's not, so what are the options, right? We could either use a custom command line options like crypt setup stuff or crypt mount. But I was thinking about this. Oh, darn, I so hate when it disappears. So I'm thinking maybe the easiest, instead of adding custom like crypt mount or whatever, like custom kernel command line things, I'm wondering if we should support a comma separated list, because what we need to do is we need to make available, like we need to pre-crypt set up this volume here. So I'm considering, like, if we support a comma separate list like that, like as a VDA2, but we would of course either then use, I so hate that this bloody backspace in GRUB on the serial console, backspace and delete at least in an ISO layout doesn't work. So my idea would be UUID equals, here's this UUID, and then like, because so that would be the most logical. I guess no other Linux distribution does it like that. Actually, we could actually Google that, root, comma, separated Linux to file. So yeah, maybe that, yeah, as expected. That's not how other Linux distributions are doing. So I always try to do the cleanest things, right? So that would be for me the most logical, clean idea, in my opinion. Again, we only need this, so we normally don't need this. We only need this for the case of an LVM2 on full disk loops encrypted device. Leave in the comments below. I mean, we could fallback. I mean, otherwise we could. It's 2 weeks and still not over. It's ridiculous. We could otherwise fall back to start unencrypting opening devices, but in my opinion, that is not the most preferable way to do that. But leave in the comments below. So, because obviously when we boot like that, neither our init RD, serial console ain't the most fun. Because as you see, so activating, so yeah, the problem is that doesn't exist, and this is why this does not work. Crypt setup, looks open the VDA 2 as root. What? Oh, was it 1? No, whatever then. Why does this not look whatever then here? Crypt setup looks open. Why does this not? Read disable. Those who can read are as an advantage. This logs or something. And what I'm considering, because currently, if you fall back into this debug shell here, then you need to manually do that here. That is a little bit annoying. I'm considering to change this boot function here into a profile inclusion file thing. So let's see, does it work? Maybe it worked. Oh, let's see. So let's see if it works. It did not necessarily copy that. Looks a little bit funny there. So, or can we actually? I would probably not try that now. So, right, VG change AY VG. Nah. Best without. So yeah, then that should exist mapper VG 0 roots. Where did I hit this mount? What did I think? Execute. Looks almost strange there. Yeah, something like that. Leave me in the comments below. So now we would need to automate this, obviously. What did I have? amd, I think I had. So should we risk calling our boot? Lucky. Okay, so this is how it would work in principle, and the benefit of that is we have one passphrase for all our logical volumes. I think this is a net benefit. I'm not sure how many Linux distributions support this. Again, there is this, but yeah, then again, other Linux distributions like here put all this, it's like follow all this little guide like LVM on loops. It's like, yeah, hey, it's so super easy. It's like, yeah, it's does it probably, that brought everything, yeah, 8 gigs of swap. And theoretically we could check resume, so we should check if this actually works. You know what, we could actually test it. Should we test this live? I mean, at least we can test this pen, should we? Okay, the Linux kernel did not complain, so the problem is we need to redo all this stuff, right? Which is a little bit, I mean, maybe it's worth it to redo this for 5 minutes before, what did we crypt? Mount. Yeah, leave in the comments below. How do you use that? How do you find? I mean, I find it hilarious that you can't put a Linux encrypted device into the FS tab. I checked this yesterday with the latest utility Linux. It's like, in my opinion, what were they thinking? You had like one job. And for me, it would be logical if you have etc FS tab and you have their etc whatever. Maybe even mark it with crypt. I don't care. But yeah, I would find it logically if that would work. Yeah. Somehow I need to write a whole operating system from scratch, apparently. So this will of course not just work. Again, this is then to test resume. Let's see what happens. Oh, this waits 10 seconds. Oh man. And then resume, you need to, thankfully we have scroll back, so that is echo this bloody major minor number into there. I think column separated or something. Yeah, so L is L-L stuff. Yeah, this is \1 colon \2. So ls root or no swap is darn, we need logical volume. So and then ls. So this is all the stuff obviously that happens in fractions of a millisecond when you boot, and so that is 2531 to diff. So if you ever wondered how this resumes, then okay, this actually worked. So yeah, as expected, so we are here in our fully booted system. So this is how this magic, if you ever, as per usual, I hope you learned something and enjoy this. So yeah, this works. finish that test. It was good that we tested that. Also, yeah, this virt.io, whatever, it's probably some, like you resume, that's probably some virt.io part with virtualized, virt.io, either VM or kernel state confusion for suspended devices. Like, not sure how many people suspend and resume their VMs with virt.io and stuff. It's, yeah, looks glitchy, maybe kernel bug if you want to shell subscribe patch. So in one way it makes our setup easier because I will actually remove the special handling for LVM, and it will make our setup a little bit more complex for iterating additional devices to make ready. I would even maybe, I mean, because it doesn't make sense that, like, what I mean is this comma separated list of devices, and I would expect that usually we don't have commas in. I mean, the only thing is, like, if you have a comma there, you probably should usually not have a comma in there if we use it like that. And maybe as the first step, we only support one comma separated list of like one, and that should be theoretically crypt setup, because it doesn't really make sense for that many others. But leave in the comments below how you would implement that, right? Would you implement this with multi-root devices? Does it make the most sense? Otherwise, actually, we could theoretically, but I mean, the Linux kernel should leave that alone. I'm not sure if the Linux kernel should treat this as a space-separated list of arguments, because I think the Linux kernel will actually complain or like warn for like unexpected, unsupported, unused command line arguments, probably, maybe. At least once I saw, as far as I remember, I once saw a warning. Anyway, so yeah, let's get back to code and do the code. So that is GRUB2. I'm not sure, like, maybe it's not the most worst to do that live here. What else do we have a test? Something LVM. And so this is crypt. So yeah, that and a real root. So cryptdev. So that would make if device mapper get backing device. And yeah, so I probably do that. The problem is live streaming is a little bit more stressful. So what we basically need to change here is like iterating all the device mapper slave, forbidden naming convention, backing device chain, like iterating over all of those. Here in is it slave? Yeah, here, slaves. And it's like basically, so iterate this, if encrypted, then change this to cryptdev, and get the m type, and remove this LVM thing here. So LVM will also use UUID then in GRUB to make stuff easier. And so I mean, ironically in GRUB so the only thing is okay, actually we could actually, did I mention we could do one quick hack? If we wanted to be sloppy, we could actually, if like after, because we wait like 10 seconds on boot until the root device, because it might take a while to spin up and USB bus settle and stuff. So, no, we could, no, we could not quick hack that. I thought we could VG change all active, but it's not a, yeah. I mean, yeah, it would not help us. But so it's basically the same for GRUB. We tell GRUB like to crypt set up that. It's the same thing, right? Always UUID except GRUB. I mean, We could even, if we wanted to keep nicer naming, could we, I mean, we could even keep, if we want, maybe I do the extra mile and somehow keep that. But leave in the comments below. I'm interested to hear if you're a Linux administrator or otherwise Unix geek, how you would best map that, implement that. I will be busy implementing that now. As always, leave in the comments below if you would want to see all this live streaming. Maybe some would do, but I need to get over this bloody coldish whatever infecting here. Otherwise I cough too much anyway. So yeah, that is the goal. And then we support even more than I initially pulled here. We support some classic partitions, Luke encrypted classic partitions, LVM, and Luke's encrypted LVM and LVM on Luke's encrypted, which is even a fifth case. And I mean, all of this, if you're wondering, all of this have valid reasons, right? If you want it super simple, sure, all the stacking eats nanoseconds of some instruction cycles of performance. But I mean, all of this has valid use cases, right? Like one encrypted root partition. Usually, I previously had only one encrypted root partitions, but of course, completely full disk encryption, like with encrypted swap, has benefits on desktop systems if you want to suspend encrypted to RAM. So this is basically keep it super simple. That is simple encrypted. This is more server managed, more server managed with encryption, and the other is like even more full disk encrypted with this like extra step of bringing it up. Anyway, I hope you found this interesting, a little bit insight of what it takes to maintain, like keep all of this and support it and implement it. And last but not least, theoretically, we would even need to test this, right? I mean, implementing it once, just theoretically, if you manually test it, you would need to have 5 different test cases, right? So ideally, we also next need to automate all this testing, because obviously what you don't test is broken. So I continue to work. I hope you enjoyed this quick overview. My voice is fading, so stay awesome and healthy. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and I hope to see you soon for all the next amazing T2 release with all these features supported to come, and obviously much easier than yes, and how to just follow these cryptic steps and you will be done in no time. Cheers. See you next time.